All right, I'm going to try to put another one of these really long bi-weekly training recaps together. I've been kind of procrastinating on getting videos done, so they've been coming out 2 weeks at a time instead of each week, which kind of sucks on my part, but I'm doing my best. So, got some power plus cleans. Try to start my clean sessions with these. I only do usually like 2 to 5 sets of these, depending on how much time I have or how cooked I am or how much more stuff I have to do throughout the week. So I think on this given day I did 5 sets of 1+1 at 245. So 110 kilo, 245, pretty easy. And then only recorded one of those, moved up to 265, and then kind of started the clean training session from there. So got 120 on the bar, 265. This is kind of a weight where things start to get a little bit more serious as far as cleans. They start to feel like real cleans instead of just like something I could so easily power for multiple reps. I mean, I could power 265. It's kind of close to where on any given day a power might start to get pretty iffy or pretty hard, or I might start to catch it with like an insanely wide stance, like what I usually call football clean or thrower clean or something. Only issue I run into with doing that on a platform like the one that you see right here is it's not flush to these mats. So there's like a 1/4 inch of space between that wooden plank you see, that wooden part of the platform, and then the stall mats on the side. So if I catch something really wide, I might slip a little bit. I really shouldn't be catching powers that wide anyway, but whatever. So 120, 265 for 3, that felt pretty all right. This 285 here, this 130 kilo, I should have doubled on this day. But as you can see there, I'm kind of like twisting my arm around. I got some like internal and external rotator discomfort when I catch a clean not so good in the front rack. So if I let it crash on me really bad, I might kind of pull something a little bit more in the shoulder rotators a little bit more than I'd like to. So I hit it after this. So 130, 285 for 2. Quite a sticking point on that second one. This is a weight that felt a good bit better the next week, which I don't think will be in this video, but I'll try and get that posted pretty soon. And then just 300 for 1. So 137, 300 for 1. Something that I should be able to hit for at least a double on any given day. That might have been what I tried to do going into this session. I wanted to hit a 300-pound double. As you can see, it was pretty hard. So called it there for cleans. Not a bad clean session. They did get better after this, so not a bad starting point for the beginning of the month as far as when these were recorded. So got some benching after this. Just hit a giant set of 10 reps. So we've got 250 pounds. So right around 115 kilo, 250 pause. I believe I hit a set of 4 here, and then I kind of backed down after that. So bench is kind of moving along. I've adopted this wider grip on bench where I put my middle finger on the ring. I used to, actually no, I put my ring finger on it now, so I'm a little more narrow. But I used to put my middle finger out there. That felt good. The wide grip felt really good for me. But I don't have the best shoulders, and as far as like the joint integrity goes, they're pretty fragile, and they bother me a lot in almost every lift. So I try to cater to them as well as I can. Even if I'm sacrificing like a couple pounds on a lift, I'll try and find a happy place where I'm still getting some mechanical advantage from whatever stance width or whatever I'm adopting for that lift. But if it's causing a lot of pain, a lot of discomfort, then I'll adjust accordingly. So yeah, you can kind of see their ring finger on the ring. So this felt good, just a giant set of descending reps. I'm not programming any reps for this particular bench workout. I do a lot of my upper body training like this. Like I'll do a giant set of 10 reps or so at a given load, and I'll try and accumulate that amount of reps in as few sets as possible. So on this day, I think I ended up getting pretty fatigued, so I did a lot of sets and ended up only hitting like doubles and singles and stuff like that. I didn't record all that because I just don't really feel like it's necessary. I track that a lot more meticulously in my logbook. I mean, it's not really that meticulous. I just write the reps down, you know, but I don't really find it necessary to talk through all that each video. So hit some squatting afterwards. My job is really physically laborious. So as much as I want to keep the squat and the deadlift high, also the clean, I try to be a little bit reasonable with my loading. And I obviously want to squat 450 every time I walk into the gym, deadlift 500 plus every time I walk into the gym, at least when I'm hitting those lifts, but I have to stay realistic. I do think I can continue to get stronger as I head into my my late 20s, even with a really physically demanding job, as long as I'm reasonable and consistent with my programming and it still is stimulative and challenging. But I just have to make sure that I know when to back off. So we got 184, 405 for a super slow single. And then I guess out of spite or frustration, I ended up bumping this up. So 415 after. Again, another pretty slow rep, but I'll take it, man. I mean, I'll take what I can get with squats nowadays. I need to keep pushing my front squat so that clean goes up, but it's just challenging to push all three lifts, at least the three that I focus on, the clean, squat, and deadlift each week. I go back and forth with doing a weekly split and a bi-weekly split. Most of the time in a weekly split, I'll do all three of those lifts, and then in a bi-weekly split, I'll do a clean and squat one week and then a deadlift and a squat the following, as far as like a main, hard, stimulative, heavy, systemic training session. One where I'm loading something axially and it's going to be very heavy. It's going to be very globally stimulative. So here's a pretty good example of what I consider something like that. Got a 425 pound back squat, super slow, dead slow. This is something I've doubled about a month ago. So knowing that I could easily double that as a back down, and it's very, very, very tough for a single on this given day, adjustments got to be made somewhere. I can't get frustrated about it because it's not worth getting frustrated over. I just have to see it for what it is, make adjustments, keep getting in the gym, and the right things will happen. I find that most times that I care about programming the least, care about training the least, care about PRing, whatever it is, care about all that stuff the least, that's when my training goes the best. So maybe I just have to focus on the training rather than the final result or the output or whatever. As miserable as that kind of sounds, like I'm still having a really good time with training overall. I'm still enjoying it. I just hate getting to the point where I walk into the gym, I know that I don't feel very good, and I have a number in mind that I really do want to hit. Like say I want to hit a 200 kilo back squat on a given day, but the weekend of work for me, or the tail end of my work week was really hard and my body just doesn't feel good. It gets a lot harder, and you know, I want to be more willing to adjust things on the fly. Although I still want to hit, you know, maybe 3 is too much. Maybe 3 big like systemic axial movements a week is too much for me. I think dialing it back to 2 is a lot more reasonable. And the more that I talk about this out loud, the more that helps me realize that doing 2 heavy lifts like that a week is probably best for me. Not only because it's what I can do with my schedule, but I'm not really sure I'm seeing good results on doing it 3 times a week. So yeah, front squats didn't go terrible. 315, usually a weight where I start to feel what the session's gonna feel like with front squat. Could say the same for like 365 for back squat. Felt all right. This was a huge session. I believe I did 152 kilo, 335 pound for a giant set of 10. And then hit a giant set of 12 at 300 afterwards. So 137 kilo, 300 pound. For a giant set of 12 following giant set of 10 at 152, 335. Hard squat session, man. It ended up being like 11 sets long or something like that. I basically just front squatted for almost an hour straight. And that's not something that I would usually program for somebody who had, you know, 3+ training days in a week. When I say for somebody, I mean myself included. But I had to get it done. I didn't get in the gym as many times as I probably should have. I know that the front squat's going to move the needle for really all of my lifts. It's probably the most valuable auxiliary or secondary lift that I could be doing in order to push the clean, squat, and deadlift. So hearing myself say that out loud kind of helps me keep in mind
300
that it's a lift that I should continue to push each week. So this video format is basically what I'm aiming for would be a weekly video on a bi-weekly split. So say I clean, bench, and squat on a given week, clean, bench, back squat. And then the week following that, I do deadlift and front squat. Hopefully separated by like 72 plus hours as far as like the axial lower body stuff goes. And I'm including clean in that category along with back squat and really any squat variation with a barbell and deadlift. The bench I'm making an exception for, of course, because basically a totally different group of skeletal tissue that I'm training. Not in a way where it's not still neurologically or systemically fatiguing. It still is, of course, but I'm saying that in a way where I can kind of account for it independent of the clean squat and deadlift variations. So now that I said all that, I'm really just looking for 2 main heavy sessions a week. And if those 2 sessions are a little bit different on, like, say, for example, I'm speaking arbitrarily here, but week 1 versus week 2, and then I repeat that afterwards. Those kind of cycles and those kind of programs are some of the most successful blocks of training I've ever ran. And I think that helps a lot with kind of recovering, for me at least, from a really strenuous job, especially one that's very hard towards the end of the week. So I kind of front load it so that I can take about 2 days off after my work week and then get into the gym, do my hardest training, or the training that I'm looking for the best numbers in, like 300 plus cleans, low 300 cleans, low to mid 400 back squats, mid to high 400 or even low 500 pound deadlifts. All that stuff I want to get done right in the beginning of the week. And then I'll throw a nice upper day in the middle where I'm benching heavy. I'm doing some kind of pull-up variation heavy or chin-up variation heavy. And then wherever that places me in the week, as long as it's 3 days at least after my first heavy training session, I can do another like squat variation or something like that. One that's not as heavy. And for me at least, that undulation of training intensity, or like global fatigue management, I guess, each week is super helpful for me. So maybe I can try to make a video better explaining that in the future. Anyway, got some RDLs. I was going to deadlift on this day, and I just felt weak. I felt really thrashed, so I did RDLs instead. And that's probably not a good idea, because I've hurt myself doing RDLs really bad. I'm not saying that they're a bad movement, because they're not. They're very good. But I really think it's something that should be done for like 8+ reps. I like loading them heavy, and I've definitely seen people have success with loading them very heavy. But I'm just not sure that lowering like 80% of your deadlift from the top and then forcing your body to have the stopping power in the bottom position, where the RDL or the deadlift in general is its hardest, to reverse that movement kind of in that bottom quarter. I'm just not really sure that's the best idea when you're fatigued. It's a great movement to do. It's a great movement to learn the hinge pattern. But I guess I'm just saying, from the perspective like of anybody that does serious heavy barbell training, globally systemic fatiguing training, strength training in general, a fatigued RDL is just probably not the safest bet. So something to consider for me in the future. I don't know why this is showing this 315. Oh, I do know why. So I hit 365 for 5, 165 kilo, 365 pound for 5, and then back down to 143, 315 for 6. And I think that 365 was for 6 as well. So my mistake there. But anyway, kind of tick the box of somewhat heavy posterior chain training. But I'm not trying to say that heavy RDLs aren't beneficial for the deadlift and overall strength, because I think that they absolutely are. I just think that doing something in a very strenuous position, like the bottom of a deadlift, the bottom of a hinge, the bottom of a good morning, anything like that. It might just be a little bit risky under fatigue. Maybe not for everybody, but for me. So hitting some more cleans later on. Clean's been feeling all right. I do them in the beginning of the week, like I've talked about. And as long as I'm not too beat up, I have a lot of fun doing them. So in this particular week, I believe I did 265 for a power plus. I think I only did like 1 or 2 sets because I didn't have a ton of time in the gym on that day. But they felt pretty all right. And then definitely worked into some heavier ones afterwards. So let's see. So yeah, that was actually it on the power pluses. So that's my fault. So 115, 255-ish for power plus. And then jumped right into, what do we got here? 280 for a double. So it's not too bad. I mean, my best double ever is 310. So that's a pretty okay percentage. It's right around 90% of my best double. So I will take that. I need to load the plates more intuitively than what I'm doing, because that's really stupid if they fly off. If I fly off and I'm doing like a double or something like that, they come off on the first rep, that's going to really piss me off, and that's my fault. So I got to make sure that doesn't happen. Sometimes this bar, this equipment, the collars will pop open on really even like the first rep, which is not good, but I got to be as preventative as possible for something stupid like that happening. So what do we got on the bar here? Just 300 for a double. Again, looking for that 300 double, and if the first rep doesn't feel good, especially if I know that I'm going heavier afterwards, I got to make sure that I don't gas myself too bad on the heaviest one. So 315 clean here, 143, 315. Always happy with doing that. Something that I really want to double. I tried some 315 double attempts a couple months ago, missed every single one, missed the second rep on every single one. But it's coming soon. I think by the time I hit a 315 double, I'll know that my clean is in PR shape. But who knows? I mean, maybe I'll hit a 345 pound clean before I hit that 315 double. I'm not usually as good at reps as I am at singles, so we'll just have to see. This was a better back squat session than the one in the beginning of the video. Not that any of them in the past like 6 weeks have been very good, so hopefully the coming 6 weeks they shape up to be a little bit better. But I'm not going to talk through a whole lot more of this. I've said pretty much everything that I've been thinking about my current training. I've been thinking about my current programming, and so it's kind of a monster of a video, probably a little bit of a monotonous one. So thanks to anybody that listened to this much of it. I worked up to a 432 pound back squat in this video. How many kilos that is, I'm not really sure. It's probably right around like 196 or something like that, because it's just shy of 200 at 440. But this is all I got. I feel pretty good about changing my training program just a little bit. I think I'm becoming a little bit more realistic about how much rest and how much recovery that I need. So I'll just end off on this 432 right here. It's a little bit more back squatting at the end of this video, but it's really nothing crazy. It's really nothing worth talking through. So here's probably the biggest lift of the month of May so far, at least, which kind of sucks because I've hit a lot heavier squats in the past month and a lot better ones, faster ones, but I'll take them in. So I'll see you guys later. back.